I pulled into my driveway after a 12-hour shift at the power plant, and something felt wrong. The house looked darker than usual. I stepped out of my truck and froze. My solar panels, they were white. Not the sleek black panels I installed 6 months ago. White. Completely painted over. Every single one of them. What the hell? I walked closer, my boots crunching on the gravel. The paint was still wet in some spots, dripping down the edges. My heart started pounding. These weren't just decorations. These panels powered my house, and a lot more than that. Like the new look? I turned around. Karen Whitmore stood at the edge of my property line, arms crossed, wearing her usual smug smile. She had on her HOA vest like it was some kind of badge of honor. "You painted my solar panels." I kept my voice steady, but my fists were clenched. "They were an eyesore," she said, flipping her blonde hair. "The HOA has standards. Your black panels violated our aesthetic guidelines. I sent you 3 notices." "I never got any notices." "Well, I sent them. And since you didn't comply, I took action. You should be thanking me. Now your roof matches the neighborhood." I stared at her. This woman had crossed every line, but this was different. "Karen, do you have any idea what you just did?" She laughed. Actually laughed. "Oh please, spare me the drama. They're just panels. Get them repainted black if you care so much. But honestly, white looks better." My phone buzzed. Then again. Then it started ringing. I pulled it out and saw my supervisor's name flashing on the screen. "I need to take this," I said. "Go ahead," Karen waved her hand dismissively. "I'll send you the invoice for the paint job. $2,000. "You're welcome." I answered the phone. "Yeah. Mike, we've got a problem." My supervisor's voice was tense. "Grid Section 7 just went down. Backup power isn't kicking in. We're looking at a blackout for the entire Western District if we don't fix this in the next 10 minutes. I looked up at my painted panels. Then at Karen, who was now checking her phone, completely oblivious. "I know what happened," I said quietly. "What? How?" "Someone just destroyed the backup array." "The what?" "Mike, what are you talking about?" Karen's phone buzzed. She frowned at it. "Why isn't my Wi-Fi working?" Then the streetlights flickered. Once. Twice. They went out completely. Karen looked up, confused. "What's going on?" I hung up the phone and turned to her. "Karen, those panels you just painted? They weren't just for my house." Her face went pale. "What do you mean?" "I mean you just shut down power for 4,000 homes." Karen's mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. That's impossible. They're just solar panels on your roof." "Not exactly," I said, pulling out my work tablet. The screen glowed in the growing darkness. "See, when the city upgraded the grid last year, they needed backup nodes. Distributed power sources in case the main lines failed. My house was chosen because of the location and because I work for the power company. Those panels feed directly into the municipal grid." Her face went from pale to red. Well, nobody told me that. How was I supposed to know? Maybe by not trespassing on my property and vandalizing my equipment. Neighbors started coming out of their houses. Porches were dark. No lights in windows. Someone shouted, "What happened to the power?" Karen's confidence cracked just a little. "This is your fault for not putting up proper signage. I'm calling the police." "Go ahead," I said calmly. I already called them. And the fire department. And my supervisor. See, when you damage critical infrastructure, that's not just vandalism anymore, Karen. That's a federal offense. She actually laughed, but it sounded nervous. Federal? Oh please, you're being dramatic. I'll pay to have them cleaned. Problem solved. Can't clean them, I said. The paint is oil-based. It's sealed into the photovoltaic cells. Every single panel is ruined. That's 48 panels at $3,000 each. Plus the cost of the citywide blackout. Plus emergency response fees. Plus. Stop. Karen's voice cracked. You're lying. You're trying to scare me. Sirens wailed in the distance. Getting closer. My neighbor Tom walked over, holding a flashlight. Mike? What's going on? My mom's oxygen machine just switched to battery. She's only got 4 hours. I felt my jaw tighten. Karen painted over the solar array. The backup grid is down. Tom's flashlight beam swung to Karen. You did what? It was an HOA violation. Karen shrieked. I have every right to. My mother could die because you didn't like how his roof looked. More neighbors gathered. I could hear their voices rising. Angry. Scared. Karen backed up a step. I didn't know about any grid. This is entrapment. He should have told me. Why would I need to tell you not to vandalize my property? I asked. 2 police cars pulled up, lights flashing red and blue across the dark street. An officer I recognized stepped out. Officer Davis. Good guy. Mike, he nodded at me. Then he saw Karen. Mrs. Whitmore. We've been getting calls about you. Karen straightened up, putting on her authority voice. Officer, thank goodness you're here. This man is threatening me and trying to blame me for some ridiculous power outage that has nothing to do with. Ma'am, I need you to stop talking, Officer Davis said firmly. He turned to me. Is it true? She damaged the municipal backup array. I handed him my tablet. Security footage. Time-stamped. She admitted it on camera too. Karen's face went white again. Camera? What camera? I pointed to the small device mounted under my roof edge. That one. Records everything. Including you saying you sent me 3 notices you never actually sent. And you charging me $2,000 for destroying $144,000 worth of city equipment. Her knees actually buckled a little. Officer Davis looked at the footage, then at Karen, then at the painted panels. He sighed heavily. Karen Whitmore, you're under arrest. Karen's voice went shrill. Arrest? You can't arrest me. I'm the HOA president. I was enforcing community standards. Officer Davis pulled out his handcuffs. Ma'am, you destroyed city property. That's not an HOA matter anymore. But I didn't know. She was practically screaming now. How could I know his stupid panels were connected to anything important? Because they're not MY panels, I said quietly. There's a city permit notice on my electrical box. Has been for 6 months. You would have seen it if you actually came to my door instead of sneaking around. Another vehicle pulled up. Not a cop car this time. A black SUV with government plates. My supervisor stepped out, along with a woman in a sharp suit I'd never seen before. Karen's eyes went wide. Who are they? That's the city's infrastructure director, I said. And probably their lawyer. The woman in the suit walked straight to Officer Davis, showed him her badge, then turned to look at the painted panels. Her face was stone cold. "Is this the individual responsible?" she asked, pointing at Karen. "Yes, ma'am," Officer Davis said. "Caught on camera. Full confession recorded." The woman turned to Karen. "Do you understand what you've done? 4,000 homes without power. 3 people on medical equipment. 2 traffic lights down causing a 5-car pileup on Route 9. A grocery store losing $30,000 in refrigerated goods. All because you didn't like the color black." Karen opened her mouth, but nothing came out. My supervisor walked over to me. "Mike, how fast can we get replacement panels up? If we order emergency delivery?" 48 hours minimum. "But we'll need to reroute power until then." "Do it." He turned to Karen. "You just cost this city about $500,000. And that's a conservative estimate." Karen finally found her voice. I have insurance. The HOA has insurance for this kind of thing." The lawyer actually laughed. It wasn't a kind sound. "Your HOA insurance covers liability within the community. Not federal infrastructure damage. Not criminal destruction of property. You're personally liable for this." "Personally?" Karen's voice cracked. But I don't have $500,000. "Then you're going to have a very long conversation with a bankruptcy lawyer," the woman said. "After you finish talking to the district attorney." Officer Davis moved forward with the handcuffs. "Ma'am, turn around please." "Wait." Karen jerked away. "This isn't fair. I was just doing my job. The neighborhood voted me in to maintain standards. Everyone agreed the panels were ugly." Tom stepped forward from the crowd of neighbors. "I never agreed to anything. I never even got a ballot." Another voice called out, "Me neither." "She makes up the votes," someone else yelled. "She's been doing whatever she wants for 2 years." Karen spun around, looking at the crowd. Her crowd. The people she'd ruled over with her fake authority and clipboards. They weren't on her side anymore. You all benefited from my work. I kept property values up. I kept the neighborhood looking perfect. My mom is on a ventilator right now running on battery backup," Tom said, his voice shaking with anger. "Because you painted some panels white. Does that seem worth it to you?" Karen had no answer. Officer Davis took her arm. "Ma'am, last chance. Hands behind your back." She didn't resist this time. The cuffs clicked shut. As they walked her to the patrol car, she looked back at me one last time. "This isn't over. I'll sue you. I'll sue the city. You'll be quiet," Officer Davis said, guiding her into the back seat. The door slammed shut. I stood there in the dark street, surrounded by neighbors, watching the police car drive away. My phone buzzed again. More alerts. More problems to solve. But then Tom put his hand on my shoulder. "Thank you, Mike. For staying calm. For having those cameras." Others nodded. Someone said, "We never liked her anyway." The city lawyer walked over to me. "We'll need your footage for evidence. And we'll have a crew out here first thing tomorrow to assess the damage and start repairs. You'll be compensated for your time and any personal losses." "What about everyone else?" I asked, gesturing to the dark houses. "How long until power's back?" "We're rerouting now. 2 hours maximum." I nodded. 2 hours. People could manage 2 hours. As the officials left and neighbors drifted back to their homes, I stood looking up at my ruined panels. White paint gleaming in the moonlight. Karen thought she had power because she had a title and a clipboard. But real power? Real power is knowing when to stay quiet, and when to let someone destroy themselves. The streetlights flickered back on. One by one.